All right, everyone, we have an awfully conveniently timed piece now here with RFK Jr., now don't we? The Me-Tooing of RFK Jr. featuring a separate story, apparently a joke tweet, which people are currently circulating, claiming that he was holding up a barbecued dog while on a trip in Korea. It appears that it wasn't actually a dog, it appears to be a goat, but there was a joke made and they're taking it at face value. The story is that back in the 1990s, RFK Jr. sexually assaulted the family babysitter. There is effectively no proof of this having actually happened. With all Me Too cases, no matter how egregious they may sound, if you do not have evidence, there shouldn't be any form of persecution, and there shouldn't be any public backlash against it. You should assume that a person is innocent of claims against them until proven guilty. If you had proof, so let's say you have at the Kennedy compound, you have video footage, from their closed cameras of RFK Jr. literally doing the try to grab him by the pussy thing. Well, then that's actionable. That's evidence, I would say. It's actually proof, but they call it evidence in court. You have that. But instead, you just have a claim. Sources claim that Kennedy did this. I'm not a fan of RFK Jr. I don't like his policies. He's a deep-seated anti-gunner. He's a climate fanatic, among other things. And, of course, he's not a particularly presidential person. His response to the allegations now were a little bit cockeyed. He said, well, I was rambunctious youth. I'm not a church boy. Okay, he could have just said, no, I didn't sexually assault the babysitter, but instead he said no comment to that one. I don't know that he did or that he didn't. I'm going to assume that he's innocent, and I think that it's a hit piece, really. Whether the allegations are true or not does not change why the story would be out there in the first place. There are plenty of allegations against Joe Biden that get buried by the media. Meanwhile, Vanity Fair and all of these other rags are, talking this up as though it's a huge thing. I think the whole goal is to devolve support for RFK Jr. because they realize that he takes more votes from Joe Biden than he does Donald Trump, and right now, Biden really needs all the help that he can get. Again, if you look at the most current polling on RCP, things are not flashing in the right direction for the Democratic Party. Although I would point out the damage is not trickling down ballot as much as during a normal election. Joe Biden is seen as not even quite the figurehead of the party, I think, at this point. I think people generally know he's not really in charge. Harry Sisson, by the way, having a great week so far. The Me-Tooing here is not coincidental in its timing. It was released at this time specifically to do damage to a rogue third-party candidacy, independent candidacy, to run interference for Joe Biden, and for no other reason. I think they know. If somebody reads this story and they say, well, I was going to vote for him, but, he's assaulting babysitters and shit like that, so I can't vote for somebody like that. Who are they more likely to back, assuming they choose one of the main party opponents? Biden. Number one, because ideologically speaking, RFK Jr. is a far leftist, and so they would naturally be more likely to favor the Dems. That's just organically true. And number two, if your concern about the candidate is marital indiscretion of some sort or another, you'd think that person would end up in Trump's camp, more likely than not. And so I think they're just trying to turn off voters from him. Because if that's the reason why the voter has left him, clearly they have a problem with marital indiscretion now, don't they? Well, Donald Trump has had a long litany of sexual incidents over time, various improprieties, literally got the hush money case and shit like that with Stormy Daniels. He did provably cheat on, probably all of his wives, etc., etc., etc. So if that's your problem, Trump's probably not your dude. You're defaulting to Camp Biden at that point. And so I think they're just trying to chip away at his support, especially the left-leaning support, and again, the support that would not choose Trump for that specific reason. Awfully convenient timing. As for the barbecued dog story, that's flat out false. That is not, in fact, a dog at all. It's effectively just a joke, but it's being taken at that face value, again, for propagandistic purposes. They know that if they put that on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that, people will hate retweet it and hate Insta it and so forth and say, oh my God, RFK Jr. hates dogs. Well, you're not supposed to hate dogs if you're a politician. Just ask Mitt Romney. It's a big problem. And Joe Biden loves dogs. Loves them so much he keeps them around when they've assaulted dozens and dozens of people, sometimes requiring literal stitches. Interesting, getting mauled by the presidential dog. I'm imagining Joe Biden sitting there in the corner watching it with glee and giggling to himself because he's like, come on, man, I've got a big dog for a big man, or something along those lines. I imagine that might have actually happened on a number of occasions. Apparently, his dog apparently shits in the White House on a routine basis, and the Secret Service is afraid of this animal because, I mean, how do you effectively defend yourself? If it really goes for you, are you going to kill the president's dog? Yeah, you probably get fired for that, just saying. I think that this Me-Tooing is very conveniently timed. I don't think that the timing of this expose is, again, whether the story is true or false, I don't think that the timing was just chosen out of the blue. I think that if RFK Jr. weren't running for the presidency and draining support from Lion Biden, I don't think that it would have been an article at all. It would have been completely ignored. The claim would have been swept under the rug. Okay, one of the lesser Kennedy family members, did something in 1990. Nobody would care. And if he was still a Democrat, they'd still circle wagons around him probably too. That's about all. Peace out.